This literally, you couldn't ask for a better result if you're a fan of the best taking on the best, and that's what we have here, as it is game on here. Hell's the away team here, taking the Birdo captain, Seth the Mario captain here, going for the home team. And Hell's has been on a tear, but it's going to be difficult sledding to get anything over on Seth.
Yeah, this would definitely be interesting. I mean, you know, both these players are obviously huge on offense. And missing that dive there is actually going to cost a double for
triple.
Bones. We're rounding third. That should be triple. Bones beats it out, and that's a triple. Just barely missing that dive is going to cost huge there. As we have now no outs, a runner on third. A clean base hit, or even if a bunt is going to score that run. So definitely already off to a good start here.
And what we're seeing from Seth here, what we've seen at least a bunch on this stream in the Seth games that we've seen, having Walu and Dixie on the team as DK drives in the first run of the game. Absolutely exactly what Hell's wanted to. And Bowser going to get hit. That brings up Birdo. But we've seen Walu and Dixie. We'll see how much Seth switches between those two pitchers, because that is what we've seen Seth do in this bracket so far, at least in the final stream here. And Hell's absolutely in a massive spot here in the first. Nobody out, 3 balls to Birdo here, 4 stars to burn. I like that take right there.
Yeah, definitely good. Seth understandably being very careful to Birdo here. There's no outs and an egg. It's going to land, but Luigi's going to get under it. That's going to score DK. Runner first and third. Still no outs. Already 2 runs on the board.
What a great dive, though, from Luigi. I mean, if that bounces again, that clears the bases, and that's extra trouble here. But great egg, and still nobody out. Still another, maybe, I don't know. You got plenty of confidence in this Toadsworth slap. You don't need the star here. I think this might just be a classic slap right here.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, the problem, too, is if you go for the star, you increase the chance that you double play. And obviously, you have no outs. You can afford it, but you really don't want to give it up. It takes away a lot of your momentum.
Going to be too high in the sky.
There doesn't quite work out.
And here's like I said, Cokes, we saw this before. Seth using the fielder swap to bring Dixie in for specific parts of the lineup and Walu for others. Let's see how much this trend continues here. And honestly, I love this. This is one of the most aggressive changes in pitching philosophy that we've seen at this stage in a Mario Superstar Baseball event in a long time.
Yeah, 100%. You know, as we go for the bunt, don't throw home. We actually throw the second and don't get the out. So no, neither Boo nor Bowser gets out there. Tough for Seth to give that up. But yeah, you know, this pitching philosophy, I mean, the idea has been done before, historically, before we had a fielder swap limit. And that's actually part of the reason that we did the fielder swap limit, is because there's so much field swapping. And ever since that rule, people kind of just gave up on the idea, but Seth's kind of bringing it back, saying, no, listen, if you give me 1 fielder swap per inning, I'm going to use that 1 fielder swap per inning. I'm going to make sure I actually put it to full use, and I'm going to use whatever strategies I can. So I really like to see this idea coming back into play.
And this might be, the double play that I thought was going to happen. Throwing it over there, I wonder if getting it out at third and then trying to fire it at second, but still close on that one.
Yeah, Wario barely beating it out there. That's going to keep this inning alive. Yoshi's up, 2 outs, so there's going to be no sort of bunting shenanigans going on. We just got to get a clean hit. We're going for the steal, and that's going to land. Waluigi not fast enough in left field.
But has that laser, so making sure that no one's going to advance to home. And here's Toadette.
Toadette making an appearance on the field. Righty Toadette at that. Don't really get to see that too often.
Sleepy in the chat saying Remke used 2 pitchers against Krasny in the grand finals of the first slice. So there you go.
There you go.
Yeah. Nope, that's not going to land. But if you're Hells, you'll take 3 runs in the first, absolutely. But this is Seth we're talking about, right? You know, so how much of a lead is really all that safe? I mean, arguably, of course, Remke always wants a shot at the crown, right? Obviously, Remke is always in this conversation. But right now, these 2 players are in this matchup, I think, trying to make a statement of who is the best Stars Off Mario Baseball player right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Remke might hate that I said that, but I know that that's the thing. But right now, these 2 players are playing at such a high level, and Seth needing to respond here in this possible first game of Grand Finals.
And you know, what better way to claim that title than taking a 4th NPSS?
Exactly.
I mean, that would be accolade to make your argument for number 1.
Here we go. PD. Wow, I thought that was
Wow.
going to hit him.
It looked like it hit, yeah. That's going to be a strike. And we're swinging at that one. I love that pitch there. We had that hard inside pitch, and it turned out to be a strike. You throw another hard inside pitch, it gets them swinging on it. Great pitching right there.
Heckaroni checking in. What's up, Heckaroni? Heckaron. But right here now, and again, you know, even if you don't get anything in this first inning for Seth, you're not going to let that, you know, derail you. Three runs is certainly not out of the question. Is it going to be 2 runs? No! Toadette misses it! Had it lined up, I thought, but no. That curve trajectory is so hard to read, and right on command, Seth makes this a 2-run ball game after King Boo blasts one past the jump-catching Toadette.
And that's a big benefit of those curve trajectory characters. They're a lot harder to wall jump. Of course, you still can do it, but it's a lot more difficult to line up properly the way you want to. And we saw that play out right there. Toadette not quite getting under that ball, and it was able to be a home run. Yeah. Hell's back on the gas pedal here, taking the plate with Dry Bones.
We've now seen Dry Bones in, I believe, almost every game on the stream tonight.
Yeah.
Dry Bones, it seems to be now establishing himself on the Bowser team, making a case that the Bowser Chem, the line drive star swing, it is worth to have every time. Doesn't need the line drive star swing there, even with the star chance.
I was just going to mention, you know, nobody on base, no outs. You have the star chance. A lot of people would think just burn the star to get the star, you know, keep that pressure going. We actually walked deep
look out there.
Not quite sure, yeah. Not quite sure if that was the intention here because now, you know, Bowser's up, and if you walk him here, it's bases loaded, no outs. So maybe a mistake there, but we are in this jam here. We're pitching to Bowser, 3 inside pitches. Probably going to see a 4th one here as we
pitching to Bowser was very kind of you to say.
I should have said not beaming Bowser on the first pitch. That would have been a little bit better.
This is a big spot here for Birdo now, and actually pointed out too by Flatbread. We haven't seen PM in this at this point in the bracket from really anybody. Oh, Luigi!
Wow, jukes out Luigi.
Just because that extra bounce right there costs the run.
Yeah, that's incredible. And now, you know, I want to make that comment before. Last time that Birdo egg was caught, you know, fielding that Birdo egg off of that first bounce is really key to preventing the ball from just going completely hectic. Wow, almost getting the double play there from Noki. Great catch, yeah.
Boo, though. Again, I've seen a lot of bunting with Boo. I disagree, but again, I'm not in grand finals of NPSS looking for my 4th title.
You know, it's tough because you have Waluigi there with Laser, right? Covering home plate. You have Bowser, the slowest character in the game. I don't quite know how I feel. You know, you do have the 1 out. You can afford it, but how confident are you that Bowser's going to score?
Body check hasn't panned out for you. You got to wait for a second, and I think that slight delay is the reason that double play doesn't happen right there, because you had to wait for Noki to get to the bag.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. That extra amount of time let Boo get to the plate, and probably going to end the inning here. No bobble, and that's going to be it. Another 3 runs. Pretty consistent for Hells here. You know, we were saying before that Seth can kind of turn it on whenever they want, but that time might have to be now. It's only the bottom of the 2nd inning, but already down 5 runs. If Hells keeps up at this pace, you know, this game can get out of hand pretty quickly.
Yep, but again, we're talking about if not the 2 best players, 2 out of the 3 best players here in Stars Off Mario Baseball. And this is a big spot. I mean, Hells feeling it. I think Hells knows, though, the perk here, as this one's going to die in the corner. Toadette's going to be there. The perk, or the benefit, Ducky brought this up. Both these players, this stage of bracket, not an unfamiliar place. So you're talking about 2 calm heads right here. You're talking about 2 players that understand the situation and can handle business here, and when the lights are shining the brightest.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you know, Seth is obviously a pretty old school player. He's been around the scene for quite some time. But both these players, Seth and Hells, have been around for a while. Seth, I don't think I've ever seen him get nervous, even at Slice, you know, does not get nervous. And I know Hells has been around for a long time, has played in so many of these tournaments. Yeah, I really don't think these players are worried about anything. They're just super locked in, ready to play at the top of their game.
Luigi looking for a little 2-out magic here in the bottom of the second. I mean, this is felt like a little bit of a long game, but I mean, we've got 7 runs throughout the first 2 frames of this with 2 pitchers that aren't afraid to throw balls and 2 batters that aren't afraid to take pitches. Again, this is what happens when you're able to really dissect each pitch, and we got a hit and run. Possibly Bowser's on the bag, but thanks to the genius of one little Cokes, you can actually manual fielder swap in this game and make that, because in vanilla Mario Baseball, that's a single.
Bowser stands there and stares at the ball and waits for Waluigi to go pick it up, and I'm not kidding, because Noki goes and covers second base. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. All right, but that's gonna be an out there. Hell's get back to his offense here.
And when we were talking about an important AB, every time Toadette steps up is an important at-bat. Same with Dixie on the other side for Seth. Those kind of like bats you don't really think about but have still such great slap potential.
Yeah. No, 100%. And I mean, you know, for Hells, right, Toadette is batting 9th at the bottom of the lineup. I mean, had Toadette gotten out there, right, now we would have had 2 outs at the top of the lineup with nobody on base. And you're probably not going to get much value out of that part of the lineup at that point. Rather, if Toadette gets on, now all of a sudden you have a runner on, top of the lineup, you have 2 outs to play with. I mean, it's a very different position that you're in.
I don't quite know what the pauses are. I'm assuming it might be possibly connection related or something like that, possibly thinking about fielder swapping or something like that. But here's a crazy stat that I want to let you know from Heck in the chat here. This is Hell's 8th NPSS Grand Finals.
Wow.
So if Hells gets the win, a 50% win rate in NPSS Grand Finals, you'll take that every day.
Yeah.
Wow.
Wow, 8 finals. I know Hells has made it quite a few times, but I was not going to guess 8. That's impressive.
That might be, I mean, it's definitely close. I mean, there have been some great players, obviously, but schedules, you know, Hells, as Steely Dad says, bases juice to Bowser here with Kem and being pitched to.
Throw a strike.
Huge spot.
Yeah. That first strike is huge. We have a lot more leniency throughout the rest of this at bat. 2-1 count here. We're still pitching inside, not going crazy. Another pause. Again, this is mostly a connection thing, you know, feeling out the latency.
And again, we're talking about fully optimizing and stuff. As Bowser's going to give that one a ride, it's going to be enough for a sac fly. Not going to leave the yard.
Not quite. But
going to advance.
Testing that. Outside strike there. We do have 3 stars in the chamber here. Berto obviously looking to put one into play, and Seth completely knows that, pitching outside, just outside of that Berto range.
And you got to do it too, right? This is oh, big strikeout, burns the star. You got to be starring every time there, though.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you know what? You're saving your stars for a position like that. That's what you're waiting for your stars for.
Shout out to Legacy Squid in the chat as well. We got a great crowd tonight. I just called you Clutch. Clutch was here earlier. You're Cokes.
There you go.
My other TOs. You know, I'm confusing my land TOs there. I will say, you know, as per tradition here, you know, we've been sipping on some adult beverages, getting us ready for the hype here.
Oh yeah.
But man, I think I'm ready to call it. I'm ready to declare something, Cokes, if I may.
Okay, let me hear.
Magic Koopa line drive star swing is the best star swing in the game.
The best flat out stars.
Tier list S tier S1 Magic Koopa line drive star swing. I'm putting it over.
Honestly,
I'm putting it over stars on Pop Fly Star Swing. I'm putting it over everything.
Oh.
If you need a guaranteed hit in Mario Baseball, you want Magic Koopa with line drive star swing. I don't agree with slapping with Petey, though.
Yeah, I don't agree with it either. I gotta say, I'll entertain it for stars off. I have to stars on Pop Fly is I've heard players want it banned as a
Yeah,
point.
but it's but you know what? People who are afraid of stars on. Oh, it's Luigi is afraid of catching the ball. Mario probably makes that play. Toadsworth's going to go in for a triple. They're just afraid to charge pitch in stars on. That's what it is. That's the thing.
That's true.
But here again, we're seeing this fielder swap. We're seeing this again, trying to make sure that taking advantage of every single possible opportunity. Oh, Madge in the air, double play, yes!
Wow!
Whoa! That was nasty.
Wow. Yeah, I mean what else could you hope for as Seth there? I mean, that's
exactly. Hell's looking great again in the fourth, but Magic Koopa just catches that in the air. Woo! That was on the nasty Madge. Put that in the next trapped reel, Super. Right there. The Shadow Wizard Money Gang just appeared. Full count. We've seen it's another thing that we're seeing, especially with these two players. Full counts, 3 balls, 2 balls. The counts are going deeper because these players know how to take pitches and know the tendencies of some of these as well, which is why, this game maybe has taken a little bit longer to get to this point, but these players know where they're at and understand each pitch matters in this situation.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, they're going to use the full count to their advantage, right? If you have a 1-2 count, they don't really have much of a reason to just keep throwing, strike, trying to like mix up their opponent. They're going to use those balls that they have. They're going to use the full count to their advantage.
And, I mean, again, I mentioned this before. I'll say it again. Plate discipline is the most important thing you can teach yourself as a new player. If you want to take, you'll survive being a weaker pitcher if you can really have good plate discipline, because you'll put the ball in play when you need to.
100%. I mean, if you find yourself swinging at the first pitch every single
that's interesting. Does that prevent Mario from going to second, where the way he hit that fireball towards the middle of the infield?
Yeah, you didn't want to accidentally get Mario out there. That was honestly a pretty good bounce there. Didn't end up fielding it with a manual select or anything like that. Probably couldn't get there in time, but nonetheless, stop the bleeding a bit. We walk Fire Bro. Now it's bases loaded. We have a green Noki with 2 stars. You're thinking about the star here. Like I was mentioning before, though, you really don't want to double play here. And Yoshi eats these line drives for breakfast, so you gotta watch out for that.
I'm still using it, though. I'm still so much more confident in the line drive star swing than a slap here with Noki.
And Seth is down 6. I mean, you got him to go for these high variance, high risk plays, and just let it happen. Drop it.
Gets the out at home instead of electing for the double play. That's interesting right there.
I like the idea because just wants to keep that run differential. Figuring, hey, listen, bases loaded, I can maybe just double play again next time.
Are 2 outs not worth 1 run to you, though?
That's a question for some baseball analytic nerd to answer.
That's an analytics question for sure, because I think I'm taking 2 outs and sacrificing the run, as Luigi is going to get that through. Perfect slap.
Yeah, there's the 1 run. Now, you'd rather have the 1 run, 2 outs right now than the 1 run and 1 out,
But there's Toadette. I think, weak arms. Gonna go to first, though. I like that throw there. This is game 1, Chillin' Chickens.
Yeah.
This is game 1. If Hells does hold on to the win, we will see a reset. If Seth completes the comeback, it's over. DK?
And I mean, we've seen Seth make insane comebacks.
Yes, we have.
Before,
you and I specifically have seen Seth make insane comebacks in NPSS finals. We've seen it firsthand.
We have. I've witnessed it. It's very real. Doesn't matter what the score is. The score might as well be 0-0 until the bottom of the 9th. I mean, that's essentially what we're looking at here. Little pitcher adjustment there. Hell's back into the driver's seat here. leading off with Toadette. Oh, sorry, excuse me, 1 out with Toadette. Sort of similar position as last inning. You know, we have Toadette up with 1 out. Really hoping to just knock it out and screw over that top of the lineup. But that's going to happen here. Top of the lineup is going to have 2 outs. We're going to see if any more damage can be done.
The thing about Seth is they're so good at just being able to, you know, again, a lot of damage. I think the best thing you can do if you're playing Seth is score early like Hells has, because as the game goes on, I think your scoring chances, your base hits are going to start getting more and more limited. So anytime you have a chance to capitalize, you got to keep it up or else Seth will beat you. That's how they're so good.
Yeah. I mean, you're scoring those early runs to get yourself a buffer for when Seth starts making the comeback. How much can I give up? You know, that's kind of what you're going for there.
Yeah, Seth uses all 9 innings. And again, great jump catch right there. Fielder swap to King Boo, taking that foul ball and getting the out there. Back-to-back scoreless frames here. And like we were talking about here, if Seth can score, that's back-to-back scoreless frames for Hells. Back-to-back innings where Seth scores, chip away here at the halfway point or a little bit past the halfway point of the ball game.
Yeah.
Madge here, 1 star, not going to use it, hits it to Birdo. Again, I think what we've seen from Seth, at least watching a few games now of Seth in this one, doesn't believe in going to 0 stars. So...
Yeah, you know, maybe decide that final star is worth, you know, when there's no outs or you know, you have a runner on 2nd and 3rd and you have an elite star swinger up. Maybe then it's appropriate, you know, not necessarily for the first, you know, for a leadoff hitter. Could be some sort of philosophy like that.
Ball on the outside, full count here. That was hit well from Petey, but left center. That ain't going to leave the yard very often.
No, it's not. But speaking of leaving the yard, King Boo was able to do it before in the 1st inning, looking to do it again.
Uh-oh.
Good contact, but it's not quite far enough. Toadette should be able to get under that. She does. That's going to be the inning. Yeah, you know, Hells is, you can see it in the scoreboard, Hells' offense is tapering off a little bit. You know, you had 3-3-1, and then scoreless the last 2 innings. Not to say he's necessarily getting, you know, figured out or solved or anything like that, or slowing down at this point in the game, but you have to start wondering if he needs to keep putting out more offense. Like we were saying before, Seth, no stranger to big comebacks.
Exactly, but Hells, you know, the one benefit of the Bowser being walked, you'll take a leadoff runner with nobody out every time, happily.
Yeah, into a Birdo star, into a Toadsworth star. I mean, yeah, you'll take that all the time.
Oh my God!
We're getting all the bounces.
It does go to Luigi. Bowser able to advance. Imagine if that doesn't bounce back. That was a crazy leap over into right field there.
Yeah. You know, imagine if that ended up bouncing over foul. I mean, Bowser scoring there, you know.
Absolutely.
You know, leave it up to the egg RNG. I mean, that's a, you know, no, we've been dealing with that.
Oh!
Wow, Magic Koopa again.
The Magic Koopa defense has been insane on first base. Usually we're talking about it on 3rd base, but no, it's first base here.
You know, I have to credit this to Seth's fielder swaps, because I swear Magic Koopa is just coincidentally always in the correct spot. So far I've been watching this game, Madge is either at 3rd or first base. He's where he needs to be. He's just always there to field that ball. If you're noticing, you know, depending on the lineup, Seth is switching Magic Koopa's position.
And I think Remke might have said this, or one of our commentators that filled in here, talking about how Seth prioritizing the corner bases instead of the other spots in the outfield, really anywhere. And that might be something to really start paying attention to, as Hells is able to drive in. That's a big run. Again, I know the lead is still 5, but you feel a lot better if you're Hells with a 5-run lead than a 4-run lead. No, because now a grand slam in the worst spot doesn't kill you.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah, you're definitely going to want that. You know, we always like to say, you know, if a swing of the bat can't tie the game, you're in a good position. And then, you know, 5 runs is the way to do that. Striking out with Wario, ending that part of the innings. You know, Hell's only put up 1 run there. But, you know, now we're starting to get to that point of the game when, you know, we're talking a lot about the Seth comeback. Now we're sort of just waiting for it to happen, right? And a lead of Mario ground out is not quite how you want to get it going. But, you know, you're down 5. 4 more innings left to score.
Yeah, and only one star too, you know. So like that's the other thing here is this game is going to get later and later. You might be depending on right here star chances. Do you go for this? Do you try to slap and get on and build up your meter, or are you going to try to get the redemption here and just go 1 for 1? And Yoshi's going to gobble that up all day. Hells, I do think, really sat in this draft and made defensive decisions by putting Yoshi at second base specifically and having Toadette. First time we've seen Toadette drafted here, specifically in right field as well.
Yeah, and I love the choices there. You know, you're talking before about Seth prioritizing the corner bases. Look at Seth's middle infield. I mean, Mario and Noki, you know, they can get the job done, but they're no Yoshi and Birdo like hellzhero has, right? Definitely a bit of a downgrade, and I mean, we're seeing it play to both players' advantages. You know, Seth doing a great job defending the corner, and Hell's doing a great job fielding in the middle infield with Yoshi and Birdo.
And here we go, bunting with Toadette. And again, I don't hate that right there. You're moving Yoshi. It's the first out. It is a sacrifice. Hell's certainly not someone that is afraid to play some small ball here, knowing that every run counts. Even if it's just one, that matters big time. I'm starring, I think, as Madge. Coming up big on defense yet again.
I was just going to think, like, perhaps that was the idea of the sack bunt, you know, push Yoshi to second in scoring position for a star swing. But we don't even see the star come out.
Oh, Yoshi's going. Oh, no, a delay, but gonna be safe. Stars on. No way you're running on Dixie there. That's going to knock Walu out of this ballgame. So that's a big part of what Seth has been doing, having to stick now with just the one. Now, I guess this potentially might be interesting here. Is Dixie going to take over full time? Are we going to see a rotation here still with Seth down 6 in the bottom or in the top of the 7th here, 2 outs?
Yeah, you have to wonder what Seth's plan is. I can only imagine they planned for something like this. You know, who would be the backup for Walu or Dixie?
And going after Bowser here right there. And again, I like that too. You're down, but I like not being afraid of Bowser. I know how crazy that sounds, and I know how easy it is for Bowser to do the thing. But right there, that was straight challenge Bowser. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah. You have to hit the ball. Like you still have to perform there. And that's gonna go right to Birdo. I made a point about this before, but when you're down, those higher variance plays, not necessarily risky, but more the high variance starts to be in your favor when you're down. You know, things like taking the risk and pitching to Bowser and just, hoping you jam them or get, a low traj or something like that. That starts to play into your benefit when you're down because the swings can go more into your favor and help you out. And that's a big
whereas
star chance.
If it doesn't go in your favor, you're losing anyway. But yeah, big star chance right there. Both these players are pretty low on stars at this point in the game.
If you're going into the 8th with 3 stars and potentially, depending on how this AB goes out, 4, and that is going to get through. You're feeling way great if you're Seth right now going in with Madge with 2 stars because you're burning right here. Set up PD and make this a 3-run ball game.
Yeah.
But stars are gold. From the 7th inning on, any star chance you win, if you are on ESPN, your win probability, that's going to get down.
Oh, wow.
And not going to get there, and we're still setting it up. Doesn't use the star. Banking him still here, and here's PD in a big spot.
This is a massive at-bat here. PD has to go yard.
At least get on and set up the chem for the grand slammy from King Boo. And that is, I think, going to hang up too much for Toadsworth. Gonna get there, and what a huge, huge sigh of relief for Hells. Avoiding that big fly.
We were talking before about a swing of the bat changing the score of the game, and that was almost the swing of the bat right there, putting up 3 runs. But Hell's just getting right back into it.
PD doesn't swing a bat, though, if we're being specific.
Oh, yeah. One swing of the leaf, of course.
But another nasty Birdo egg there. And, man, I tell you, Birdo egg is such a you live or you die, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it is just like, but does that really mess with the situation? Birdo's safe!
Wow!
Anti Make it so you can get the extra couple of inputs. Madge is going to magic catch, get the out, but it's going to be on the ground, and that's going to cross a run. Wow.
Seth, Hells is just non-stop with the offense here. I love to see it. You know, you're up 9-3, and Hells says, you know what? I'm stealing. I'm doing what I got to do.
I'm just going back here. Hells has now scored double-digit runs in 4 straight games to get to this point. This is now the 4th straight game starting in losers quarterfinals for Hells, putting up double-digit runs. Wow.
Wow. And you know what? He's looking for a 5th.
Yeah, you know this isn't enough. Man.
Wow, yeah, 100%.
And
you know, I guess
we
mentioned before about how the eggs have been playing so well for Hells, and I have to wonder if part of that is the middle infield from Seth. I mean, we don't have a Yoshi, we don't have a Wario, a big frame like Donkey Kong to sort of block that ball early on. You know, Noki and Mario, again, they can get the job done in the middle infield, but they're not quite that elite tier.
I mean, have we ever seen this at NPSS going on I mean, this is a lot of runs to be scoring for Hells here. In the driver's seat in the 9th, 4 stars. I mean, you got to be a little bit more ready to burn, right? Unless maybe Hell's holding on for the possible star pitches to just say, this is grand finals of NPSS. I'm going to star pitch. Hit him if you can.
You know what? I'm going to be honest. I don't think Hells is thinking about the inning count right now. I think Hells is simply sticking to the game plan, you know.
Keep scoring until I can't. I'm just going to keep doing what I can.
Exactly, you know. I'm not thinking I just got to burn all my stars at the end of the game. You know, I'm going to do what I know is the best idea, and I'm just going to stick with it.
Right here, though, you got to be burning. You got 4 stars, and going into the meat of your lineup, you got to be burning if you're Bones, but no, holding on. Again, you know, I'm not in there. I'm not here at this stage, but that seems like a guaranteed spot to line drive star swing. Possible banana here. Maybe going for the slap to set up.
No, yeah, we're not going for it. Just sticking to the guns. You know, Hells hasn't been starring with Bones. I really haven't seen it in this game, I want to say. I don't think he's done it once.
Which is
you gotta wonder. I mean, if you're not gonna score,
I mean, how do you sit there and not burn 4 line drive star swings? But again, C's in the chat saying, "Oh, Bowser goes for the dive, not the jump. The jump, that's an out. The dive, it's good." C's saying bone slap good, so maybe I'm sleeping.
You know, I gotta wonder if you're never gonna star, if you're rarely gonna do it. You might as well pick, you know, blue bones for the speed, or even red if you want like the
fielder swap right there. It's good heads up play right there, Cokes. Because again, another moment where if that's vanilla Mario baseball, everyone's safe.
Oh yeah, 100%. Noki's on third base. Here we have Dixie trying to make it happen. Some outside pitches. Seth obviously not too happy about losing that 1 star. We were talking about leaving that 1 star in the chamber. Again, this might be the time to think about using that final star. Of course, not for Dixie, but at this point in the game, you got to think when the next star hitter comes up, we just got to go make it happen. 2 outs, and we're starting to run out of
You could put Birdo in and throw 4 egg balls here if you wanted to.
You could do that, but the problem is then you have Boo in the field, and Boo at any position in the field that's not pitcher's mounder or the quarter bases. I mean, you're just asking for a you know, you're asking for the opponent to get a comeback.
DK is not going to make the play. This game is going to continue. 6-run ball game, 1 star for Madge here.
1 star for Madge. I mean, if you're going to use a star swing, I think now's the time to burn that final star.
Yeah, absolutely.
You mentioned before, this is potentially the best star swing of the game. So
it depends on who you ask. I mean, I'm sticking with my declaration. You know what I'm saying? Good strike right there to get that first strike. Burn, DK not going to make it. Now Madge has got to do it the old-fashioned way, but has that chemistry. Yoshi, exit. We're resetting it, folks. We got another ball game heading your way.
One more game of baseball to determine the the first ever person to get 4 NPS titles. And